Hello guys and welcome to this Tomodachi Game video. And in this video I will be talking about chapter 127 of the Tomodachi Game manga. With this chapter the Tomodachi Game manga is now coming to an end, and I am very sad that this is the final chapter. And this was a very long chapter with 52 pages, and we also got 2 colored pages for this final chapter. So this chapter begins with a flashback of Yuichi counting his money, and Yuka is telling him that friends are more important than money. And we also get a full page color spread with all 5 of the main characters, and the title of this chapter is asking if they will still decide to remain friends. And then we see that everyone is talking about Yuka, and Tenji is telling everyone that Shiho's father told him about Yuka's past while on their way to the final venue. She didn't have any relatives, and since she was poor, Yuka had to work while attending college. However, Yuka was more kind than anyone else, and this caused everyone around her to be attracted to her. Everyone in Yuka's friend group had fallen in love with her, and because she was so special to them, this is why they couldn't resist playing the original Tomodachi game. But Tenji goes on to say that there is another way to look at this tragedy. Tenji says that the original story is that 5 people all fell in love with a woman who had an incurable disease, and this woman was taken advantage of by Taizen Shiba and her adoptive child. But Shiho notices that there is too many coincidences, and Tenji responds to this by asking if this was a deliberately created situation rather than a coincidence. Shiba asks if Yuka was behind it, and Tenji replies by saying that he has no proof, however he did hear that her doctor was an accomplice in the scam. Shiho asks if he's saying that the doctor was an accomplice of Taizen and Yuichi, but Tenji reveals that he is not talking about Taizen or Yuichi. Then Tenji goes on to reveal that the person who the doctor was colluding with was actually Yuka herself. Shiho's father learned 3 things from interrogating that doctor, and number 1 was the orders from Taizen Shiba, and number 2 was that she was pregnant with Mizukazu's child. And number 3 was that Yuka was actually lying about having an incurable disease. Tenji explains that she did still have a pre-existing heart condition, but her symptoms could be controlled by taking her medication. And Shiho and Tenji agree that since the doctor was Yuka's accomplice, they can see the tragedy in a different light. Tenji says that this was probably Yuka's secret that Yuichi found out, and despite killing his father to protect Yuka, Yuichi would soon find out that Yuka was a completely different person than he had thought. And Shiho says that this must be why Yuichi killed Yuka after being so deeply hurt by her deception. Yutori asks if Shiho can understand what Yuichi did, and Yutori said that Shiho can't understand. Because then why would Yuichi say that he was changed by Yuka's words, which are that friends are even more important than money? Yutori asks if killing her while laughing is what a wounded child would do, and Yutori asks Shiho if she can really understand his feelings. But Kei says that this is the reason why it's called a counter gamble, and a counter gamble is a winning strategy where a bet is placed on both of the options. Kei says that perhaps Yuichi not only did this in gambling, but also in everything that he did. Kei said that this has always bothered him since he first met Yuichi, and this is how Yuichi is capable of changing his mind so skillfully. And Kei says that since he is a genius, he could easily scam anyone and take their money, but it is his moral conscience that makes him unable to do that. Kei says that he would feel guilty about deceiving people he knew well, and if you're deceived by someone close to you, then it hurts even more. If it is for his goals, Yuichi will betray anyone without hesitation, and if someone betrays him, he can change his mind about them just as easily. He acts like everything is within his expectations, but he can immediately strike back at those who betray him. Kei goes on to say that Yuichi has the heart to trust others, but also the heart to not trust anyone. Yuichi is capable of switching between them as needed, and Kei describes this as making a counter gamble in your heart. And this is the reason why he can sympathize but also trample on his enemies, and he can make his emotions true or false at any time. Yutori says that this is the ideal successor that Taizen wanted from Shinji, but no human was capable of doing that. And Kei says that this is why Yuichi said that he is broken, and this is also why he killed his beloved mother while laughing. And then in the next page we see that Kei started crying, and with tears streaming down his face, Kei is saying that Yuichi will even throw away his life for the sake of his goals. But Shiho's father suddenly arrives on the scene, and he says that nobody knows that for sure, and in the end only Yuichi knows the truth. Shiho gets up to see her father, and then Shiho asks him if Yuichi is okay after the surgery. We can see that Shiho is very worried for Yuichi, but Wataru tells his daughter that Yuichi survived the surgery. However, he says that the chances of Yuichi regaining consciousness are extremely slim, and in this page we see that Yuichi is in a coma. And his condition is so bad that life-prolonging treatment would normally not be given. And since Yuichi has no family to make that choice, the doctor told Wataru to make a decision. Shiho frantically asks her father what decision he will make, but Wataru says that he needs to apologize, because he wants them to make the decision that will decide the fate of Yuichi. Because of his hatred for Yuichi, Wataru thinks that he is a biased decision maker, and Wataru tells his daughter that he is a failure as both an adult and a police officer. And since they are his friends, Wataru thinks that it will be better for them to make this decision. Shiho tries to answer immediately, but Wataru interrupts her by telling her the harsh reality of keeping Yuichi alive. And in this moment Wataru informs them that it will cost a lot of money to pay for Yuichi's life-prolonging treatment. Kei says that this means that the people who try to save Yuichi will have to carry the burden, and Wataru says that if that's what they decide, then he will support them as much as he can. But at best, Wataru can only take Shiho's place, and he says that Tenji has no parents, and he also dropped out of school. Wataru also said that Yutori's mother is not in good condition, and Yutori will be detained later. And Shibei's family will be left in financial ruin in the aftermath of his father's crimes. Wataru says that this is a very difficult and expensive decision, but he wants them to talk amongst themselves to come up with the answer. And Wataru says that the reason why they made the wrong choice is because they couldn't talk things out properly. And after Wataru leaves, we see that there is a long moment of silence. Kei thinks to himself that he understands everyone's troubled feelings, and he can't blame them because they still can't figure out the truth. They learned the terrifying power of money in this game, and how easily friendships can be broken. But Kei thinks that this is exactly the reason why they must be the ones to answer this question, and this is because this will be their very last Tomodachi game. Anyway guys, in a moment we see that Shibei said that he has made his decision, and then he starts telling everyone his answer. And then we get a time skip of 2 years, and 2 years later we see that Kei and Satone Kaido are meeting each other in front of a school. Satone says that it is impossible to catch everyone involved in the Tomodachi game, and there are some people like Shinji, and some administrators that have gone missing. However, since the ringleader is fully cooperating with the investigation, the compensation for the victims will be completed very soon. Satone asks Kei what about him, and Kei responds by telling her that he is studying. Kei says that he had no goals before but now he does, and after Satone asked him what his goals were, Kei said that he is going to become rich in order to save Yuichi. At first he thought he would become a doctor or a lawyer, but other people worked hard to be that too. And Kei goes on to say that everyone is trying their best to find what they can do, and with a smile on his face, Kei says that it is all for the sake of their friend. Kei wants to become rich so that he can help those clumsy people, and Satone teases Kei by saying that in that case, he should support her then since she is the clumsiest. And then Satone asked Kei what made him make his final decision, and this is when we get to see a flashback of Shibei's answer. And after saying that he has made his decision, Shibei tells everyone that his answer is that he does not know. Kei asks Shibei if he can please be more serious about this, but Shibei says that Yuichi asked him what is a friend to him before the school trip, and after hearing this question, Shibei gave Yuichi the same answer, which is that he doesn't know. And in this flashback Shibei is telling Yuichi that he doesn't get the logic behind it, he wants to be with him, so they're friends. After hearing his answer Yuichi looked surprised for a second, but then he smiled with a nice look on his face, and said that this is so like Shibei. Shibei says that he decided to be honest, and he doesn't know if Yuichi is good or bad, or even what choice is right, and in the end he doesn't know anything. And in this scene Shibei finally gets a redeeming moment where he starts crying, and he says that the only thing that he knows for sure is that he does not want Yuichi to die. And in this emotional moment Shibei says that he still considers Yuichi as his friend. We can see that all four of the friends were immediately convinced by Shibei's words, and we see that even Yutori started crying real tears in this moment. Kei says that at that time, everyone thought the same thing without any logic behind it, and in the present he tells Satone that he used to think that people who believed in fakes were stupid. And Satone replies by saying that even though Kei is a genius who hates idiots, he was still saved by an idiot. And with a smile on both of their faces, Satone says that the only thing left for him to do was to make the decision, and Kei says that after preparing themselves for the worst case scenario, they chose the option to save Yuichi. And Kei says that next, they just need for him to wake up, and in this scene we get to see Yuichi laying in the hospital bed. And Yuichi is apologizing to his mother, and he is saying that in the end, that was the only thing that he could do to protect her. And in this part of the chapter we finally get to see the Yuka flashback from Yuichi's perspective, and Yuka is apologizing to Yuichi for lying to him, and she said that she had been hiding her pregnancy. Yuichi asks who the father of the child is, and Yuka says that it is Taizen, however Yuichi immediately sees straight through her lies. Yuichi asks his mother not to lie to him, and Yuka says that she will tell him the truth. Yuka confesses that the child actually belongs to Mazukazu Shibei, and Yuichi asks her why she would accept such a man. Yuka tries to lie by saying that he is the man she chose to love, however Yuichi tells her not to lie. With a menacing look on his face, Yuichi asks why she lied again, and he says that she has been acting very strange. Yuichi says that she has always acted like such a good mother to him, but now she is lying to him, and then Yuichi says that it is time for her to take her heart medicine. Yuichi tells her that if she stops lying he will let her take her medicine, but Yuka insists that he is really the man she chose to love. And with an evil smile on her face, Yuka says that after all, he has the most money. Yuka confesses that she was originally planning on marrying him, but she decided that becoming a politician's mistress would be a better way to earn money. And in this tragic moment Yuichi asks Yuka why she said there is something more important than money if she got pregnant just for money. Yuka says that those words were just a lie, and she says that the most important thing is money, not friends. With a smile on his face, Yuichi comes to terms with the fact that the person who showed him the light was deceiving him all along, and he thanks her for being honest with him. Yuichi goes on to apologize to his mother, and he tells her that he will pretend that he did not hear that. Yuka starts screaming why he would do this even after she told him everything like she promised, and she begs Yuichi to let her have this child because she really needs the money. However, while killing Yuka, Yuichi says that he can't do that, because then he will lose the most important thing to him, and this is his beloved mother. Yuichi thinks to himself that he chose the mother figure that he loved, and so he killed the other side of her in order to make it a lie. And Yuichi thinks to himself that he killed someone very important to him for truly selfish reasons. But Yuichi says that this is the reason why he decided to follow the words she gave him, and these words are that friends are way more important than money. And Yuichi thinks that if he dies because he kept those words, then she can laugh at him. And in this next page we see that Yuichi is opening his eyes, and he is thinking that if he survived because he kept those words, then it means that his mother. However, in this second to last page Yuichi did not finish his sentence, and in the very last page of this final chapter we see that Yuichi is laying in a hospital bed after regaining consciousness, and all of his friends are standing at his bedside. And the final page also says that this is the finale of the Tomodachi Game. Anyway guys, it really sucks that this is the last chapter, and I hope that the series will get an epilogue. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, then like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.